So that marks the end for Fantasy Bishoujo. Definitely one of my favorite new anime of the winter 2022 season. This was definitely a delight and a joy to watch throughout the entire season that this was incepted. And if for some reason this happens to be the end and we don't get an additional season, I still feel pretty satisfied about where this left off between Jinguchi and Tachibana. One of my favorite things throughout the journey up until now with episode number 12 for Fantasy Bishoujo has definitely been the journey, not the story. And typically that's not always the case with anime. And I will elaborate on that. What I mean specifically is this was definitely a journey between two people forming a bond, getting closer with each other, and really like trying to come to an understanding to where eventually it got left off on basically Tachibana almost begging for recognition, basically begging for herself to be recognized by Jinguchi. And when that finally happened, it's like Jinguchi had basically gathered 20 years of friendship stuff within him, and he vomited it all out in one to go and really put Tachibana like on this high pedestal that I don't think Tachibana had ever realized that she was on before. I think that she was always thinking that she was on the bottom looking up at what Jinguchi kind of like recognized others as. And I don't think she ever really recognized within herself that she was actually at the tippy top of that actual pillar, really being the top of what Jinguchi really, everything that embodies him, what's really important to him. And again, like I said, I love the journey, and the journey was really involvement of two people discovering their relationship, their bond with each other, and that was the relationship. Now, everything else around them, the plot, the story, the goddess, what's driving them forward, the demon lord, all that stuff was kind of like background to Jinguchi and Tachibana's relationship, because that was foreground and that was like where the focus was. And I actually really appreciate that as well. But the thing that I appreciate even more than that is the fact that the goddess, their motivations, the plot, the demon lord, it was all concise and it was there, right? Jinguchi was the knight of the hero, right? The hero was Tachibana. She's the hero. She's the one that was going to be summoned. Jinguchi is her weapon, essentially. That's basically what he is. He is her weapon, right? He's the one that is to protect the hero. So they're both summoned, and their goal is to, from the goddess, they're placed here, go defeat and take on the demon lord. That was their beeline plot. Be isekai'd, go take on the demon lord. That's what's driving them forward. Period. The end. And then you introduce other people who have been summoned before. You introduce Schwartz. You introduce side characters. You introduce Cart Guy. You introduce the demon lord's peons, their motivations. Everything else around it is good. And that's what's really enjoyable, right? So you have all this background stuff that is really enjoyable. And then you remove that, and then you have what the story is about. And again, like I said, it's about Jinguchi and Tachibana growing with each other, finding each other, being comfortable with one another, and really like expressing their love and finding their love for each other and being okay with that. And I've said it a bunch of different times, right? Is prior to Tachibana's transformation or whatever, prior to her changing from who she was to who she is now, I still think that there was love and bond and friendship and everything there between them. And I think Jinguchi's always been searching for what he already had. And conversely, Tachibana's been searching for it in other women. And again, Tachibana never really realized that what Tachibana was looking for was already there in Jinguchi. And now that Tachibana is who she is now she's starting to realize, what that is. And it's expressed in this episode specifically because we see that she got charmed. And now that she can get charmed by Jinguchi, now that they can both move forward, I think it's even more expressive when they had that scene and scenario with each other of both worrying about being charmed together. And even Jinguchi and Tachibana both have the same thoughts together as, oh, well, we could, if we both remain charmed, what could happen? And they think of themselves getting married, having a kid, playing with the kid, seeing it grow up, growing old, right? Similar thoughts that Jinguchi had before. Tachibana's having those thoughts too. And it's kind of cool, you know what I mean? Like, personally, I kind of feel like Tachibana is she represents or is represented by who she feels, like who she's always felt. I think that that's who she is now. And I think that that's the person that she is. And hopefully they still have to obviously go, you know, let's say we never get a season 2, right? You assume source material wise, and I don't know what happens source material, throw it down in the comments, but you would assume they go and defeat the Demon Lord, they complete that, and then they basically ask the goddess, you know, there's one of two things. Either the goddess is like, haha, got you guys, thank you for completing that task, enjoy living in this world, that's it. Or she's cool about it and she gives them the reward and she offers to send them back to Japan. But maybe as a reward, she gives Tachibana the option to remain who she is now, or Tachibana can go back to who they were before. So either scenario could be an option. And if it is to stay, then, you know, that life that they just envisioned could come to fruition. And I really love that a lot. And I think it's a really cool undertoned story on what Fantasy Bishoujo was. Like, I like how it's comedy, but there's still a greater tone of discovery between two people. I love that. And then obviously on top of that, you have this isekai demon lord. Pretty A to B story that was told. I love it, and I think this anime was awesome. Really enjoyable. Really enjoy watching it, and really enjoyed being with it all season long. And I thank you guys for being with me all season long, covering it each and every week. I hope you guys can do me a favor and drop some last comments down. Give me your last thoughts in the comments below. Let me know all your thoughts for Fantasy Bishoujo down in the comments. And do me one last favor after you guys do that, after you guys drop some knowledge, do me one favor. Go check out what anime, if you haven't already, what we're watching in the spring. We're going to be covering up to 10 anime in the spring, and I made a video, and that is all the anime I'm going to be covering here on the channel, so go check that out. All right, my friends, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys in the spring.